a few reasons why men will abuse the women they're with or women they claim they love. As I always say, it's all about control. It's all about dominance. It's all about selfishness. It's all about sex. It's all about status. Sex, status, selfishness. The three S's. Gina Chumesi here, your favorite psych nurse practitioner, coming at you with another video highlighting toxicity in relationships.
I tell people all the time, he's abusive to control you. And people are always like, why though? Like, why would anybody want to control somebody? Why would that be the goal? Let's talk about Chuck Derry. He's the director and co-founder of the Gender Violence Institute. People are so interested, right? What are the root causes of abuse? Like, why? Why are they abusive? And the truth is, we all want to know. And that's why Why Does He Do That by Lundy Bancroft is a best-selling book. So one night, Chuck's hosting a group and he asks all these men, what are the benefits of being abusive towards your spouse? And they all start like looking at each other like, what are you talking about? There's no benefits. So he's not surprised, but he presses along and he was like, well, come on, there's got to be some benefits. Otherwise, why would you do it? Now, all it took was one man who said one benefit, and then the rest of the men started to chime in with all of their benefits. You have got to hear this list. Now, right before I get into the list, let me tell you why this is so important. You think he couldn't possibly be doing this on purpose, right? It must be childhood trauma. It must be insert excuse here. These are the reasons listed by the abusers themselves. She's scared and she won't go out and spend money. You get your way. You get to go out. Respect. She won't argue. I feel superior. She's accountable to me in terms of being somewhere on time. I decide. It keeps the relationship going. She's too scared to leave. I get money. I get sex. Total control in decision making. I use the money for drugs. Don't have to change myself for her. Power. I decide where we go. I decide who we see. I decide what she wears. I get to control the children. If she's late, she won't be again. Intimidation. She's scared and can't confront me. I can convince her that she's screwing up. She feels less worthy, so she defers to my needs and wants. She will look up to me and accept my decisions without an argument. I decide her social life and what she wears, so you can keep your image by how she acts. She's to blame for the battering. She's an object. I get a robot, babysitter, maid, sex, food. It's an ego booster. She tells me that I'm great. Bragging rights. If she works, I get her money. I get her to quit her job so that she can take care of the house. I isolate her so her friends can't confront me. Decide how the money is spent. I'm the breadwinner. I buy the toys I want. I make time for myself. She has to depend on me if I break her stuff. I get to know everything. She's a nursemaid. She comforts me. Dinner's on the table. I invite friends over without her knowing, and that's more work for her. No compromise equals more freedom. Don't have to listen to her complaints about not letting her know stuff. She works for me. I don't have to help out. I don't have to hang out with her or the kids. I don't have to get up, take the garbage out, watch the kids, do the dishes, get up at night with the kids, do laundry, change diapers, clean the house, bring kids to appointments or activities, mop the floors, or clean the refrigerator. I don't answer to anybody. I do what I want when I want to. I get to ignore or deny my history of violence and other irresponsible behavior. I get to rewrite history. I get to determine the future. I get to determine what values the kids have, who they play with, what school they go to. I get to ignore her in the process, and I get to dictate what they need: food, clothes, recreation, etc. I get to dictate reality. I get the kids on my side and against her. The kids will do what I say. I get to mold the kids and her so that they will do what I want them to do. She keeps kids quiet about the abuse. Choose the battles and what it will cost her. It proves my superiority. I get to win all the arguments. I don't have to listen to her wishes, complaints, anger, fears, etc. I make the rules. I can break them when I want. She won't go get help against you for past beatings because she has no friends to support her and is confused by my lies. I convince her she's nuts. I convince her she's unattractive. I convince her that she's to blame. I convince her that she's the problem. I can dump on her. I can use the kids to spy on her. The kids won't tell mom what I did. The kids won't disagree with me. I don't actually have to talk to her. I'm the king of the castle. I can make myself scarce. I have someone to unload on. I have someone to bitch at. She won't call the police. I tell the kids that they don't have to listen to mom. I can get her to drop the charges. I can get her to support me, to her family, my family, the cops, judges, children welfare, prosecutors. I can get her to support me to her family, my family, cops, judges, children's welfare, prosecutors, etc. And I can get her to admit that it's her fault. Chuck asks them, well, would you ever give this up? Why might you give this up? And here's what they said. They would only give it up to avoid getting arrested, avoid divorce, avoid getting a protection order taken out against them. They don't want their adult children to not invite them to their weddings, and they don't want to have to go to groups like that one. Do not ever think that these men are not doing it on purpose, that they do not know exactly what they are doing. They admit it when they are asked. I am up to here with people saying that it's about childhood trauma. They haven't learned. Their mom was mean. Their ex was a B word. I'm so tired of all of the excuses. Men are abusive because they choose to be abusive. And that is the end of it. Full stop. Period. The end. Stop with the excuses.
Another video highlighting toxicity in relationships. So they use different tactics to keep you down. The more down you are, the more they can gaslight you and manipulate you, the more easier it is for you to stay subdued. And the more isolated you're going to be, the more dysregulated. The inability for you to be able to think beyond what's going on and think about making money, think about taking care of yourself. So you're sicker in your mind, you're sicker physically, you are not able to go. Your financial status is weak and weaker and weaker and weaker as the relationship goes on, and the more dominance they exert on you. A lot of men have misogynistic mindset. They've been conditioned globally. It's beyond my culture, beyond my community of church culture. Okay, a lot of men, not all men. This is why hyping this up, myself and other feminists and same mindset, to start raising our sons differently. But it's all at the bottom of it, the control. A lot of the videos that I'm gonna teach here will highlight different ideologies as to why. If you ever been with a boyfriend, a fiance, a husband that really has that red pillar mindset, man-centered approach to relationship, my way or no other way, it's all about control. It's all about what you can bring to them, to their comfort. You're their therapist, their little mom, their secretary, their cleaner, their cook, their friends, air quote. Isolate you, cut you off. You have no support system. Gaslight you to the point where you constantly doubt yourself, doubt your own reality, doubt the ability for you to make anything meaningful out of yourself and out of your children's lives, cut off your destiny. You're literally crippled at the knees constantly. You can't sleep. You're overweight. Your skin is breaking out. You have a lot of health problems, autoimmune issues, chronic pain, migraine, headaches constantly, constipation, IBS, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, early dementia, memory problems, anger problems, irritability. You have limerence with other people's relationship. You're like really kind of falling in love with ideas of this person or other people who can like save you. You feel helpless to the situation. Like it goes deeper and deeper, darker and darker if you allow yourself to be and to stay in that relationship. If you're to detach, to realize, oh gosh, something is not right here, and to start to plan your exit safely, and or to stay meaningfully while you center yourself to realize that this actually do happen. And a lot of times it's not overt, okay? It's very subtle, it's very nuanced, it's very insidious way. It starts slow. The gaslighting start very slow, slow movement to see how well you will take it. My skin gets dry. To see how well you take it when they start bashing on you And then sometimes they rally with the kids too. They will manipulate the minds of the kids to align with theirs. So all of a sudden the kids start to disrespect you as well. I've seen this in my practice time and again. In high conflict, domestic violence, feel chaotic, unpredictable relationships with a man who's bent on have his way or no other way. And a lot of times they might have issues with substance use, gambling, porn, womanizing, cheating, maybe even overworking, being out of the house a lot, hanging out with the bros excessively, very impulsive behavior, aggression, passive aggressiveness, pushing, shoving, dismissing, disregarding, gaslighting, stonewalling, and the list goes on and on. But these are signs you need to watch out for to ensure that you're not experiencing this, any level of this, the different spectrum of this, and it can span over years if you allow yourself to. And you're, next thing you know, you're in your 50s, 60s, and you're like, whoa, where did time go? Did I even enjoy life? Did I even enjoy happiness, true happiness in the presence of this person, whether we are with them or not with them anymore? Are they remotely still controlling you? Do they have real estate set up in your mind, constantly ruminating about the issue? You need to detach, you need to disengage, and you need to start looking at healing yourself. You need to let that anger taking a rage take its course, and you need to start healing by doing some nervous system healing work, deep diving into EMDR therapy, journaling, walking, healing, drinking your water. But first, start with recognizing what are the signs of manipulation and abuse look like. Okay, bye.
So she says she needs advice. Says she's been married for 19, together for 21 years to a possible narcissist. He's very abusive, physically and mentally. She filed for divorce, but now he's sorry and very much in love with her. Y'all, if you're new here, I'm a diagnosed narcissist. And y'all, I say this to people all the time that narcissistic people, when you try to leave them, they will try to give you everything that you want. Like at the end of the relationship could be another love bombing phase. They will just do enough to keep you there, to keep you from exposing them, to keep you with them or around them so they always have some type of access to you, right? But and some of them will lose their damn mind. Some of them will try to go ahead and send you to meet God face to face. I promise you. So be careful. But I also tell people that because they can love you so hard at the end and give you everything that you've been asking for at the end, it just shows you that they could have been doing this the entire time. It's just more manipulation. It shows you that they've been choosing to treat you badly, that they could have been treating you good the entire time, but they chose to treat you badly instead, right? So at the end, it's more manipulation. The manipulation doesn't stop. They don't just all of a sudden see the light because you're leaving. No, they thought they can get away with treating you badly for an extended period of time because it's been 21 years of it, you know? So my advice, I would just keep leaving, but I'll be safe leaving because I'm telling you, some of them will lose their minds and think that you're going to try to be with somebody else and try to send you to meet your maker.
You know the men that say they stop giving to a relationship because a woman isn't matching their effort? Well, the problem isn't that a woman isn't matching your effort. The problem is that you expect her to.
I believe here's how you can tell the difference between a man who is healthy and a man that's toxic. The man that's healthy is looking to be of service. The man that's toxic is looking to be served.
I grew up being told that in traditional relationships, men want to provide and be of service. Men want to give. Men feel good when they give. Men want to make women happy. And a man is happy and content when his woman is happy and content. And all a woman needs to do in return is praise and appreciate him. So then I would get in relationships with men and they would provide and be of service, and I would praise and appreciate. But in every relationship, the man would slowly stop being of service and start asking me to service him. More time, more energy, more attention, more money, more labor. Before you know it, you're providing all the service and they're the receiver. You can feel that imbalance and it doesn't feel right. So you ask for them to service you, the natural order of things. But you're told you're asking for too much, you're keeping score. Why can't you appreciate the things I do for you? And so you say to yourself, oh, right, I'm not supposed to keep score. I'm supposed to praise and appreciate. That's what relationship advice tells us, right? So you intentionally look for things to be grateful for. I started a gratitude journal, and after 3 weeks of writing in it daily, there was not one entry about him. So because he was no longer being of service, there was nothing to praise and appreciate. And of course, they noticed this. So when they do decide to do something, a load of laundry, the dishes, a date night, not only do they expect praise and appreciation, but they expect something in return. Now they're keeping score, and everything starts to feel like a transaction. And this was so confusing because it went against everything I was taught about men. And so it makes you think, well, maybe everything I was taught was wrong. Maybe appreciation isn't enough. And because now you're used to relationships where men are transactional, you adopt this defense mechanism, this response to scorekeeping and transactional relationships, where you don't ask for anything because you don't want it held over your head. You want things to be 50-50 because then at least they're doing their part. Because men like this don't feel genuine pleasure in giving for the sake of giving. They only give to get. They too want you to contribute 50-50, and they enter their soft boy drizzle era, which is their ego's response to being unable to serve.
So if I am a man that's only looking to be served, I'm not going to see you because I'm only going to see you through the lens of how you service me. If I'm looking to serve and be of service, then I'm going to see you. What's your need? What's your thoughts? What are your dreams? What are your hopes? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? Well, why do you think that? Why do you feel that? Oh, wow, you put some lashes on today. Oh, okay. You got some extensions in. Like, because I'm looking to be of service. So I'm actually evaluating what's in front of me and identifying how I can make a benefit or make a contribution versus looking at it from like, what's in it for me?
So it says he used to pride himself on not being physically abusive with me, but instead continued to kill my soul and my spirit until I felt like a shell of a human. I'm not saying that she was in a relationship with a narcissist or a toxic person, but that's what happens in relationships with highly narcissistic people. They literally emotionally abuse you, narcissistically abuse you until you don't recognize yourself anymore. Not just physically don't recognize yourself anymore. You don't emotionally or mentally recognize yourself either. You don't like to do the same things that you used to do. You don't feel like the same person that you originally were when you entered into the relationship. If you try to convey that to that narcissistic person, it falls on deaf ears, y'all. Narcissistic, toxic people, abusive people don't see emotional abuse as real. If they're not putting their hands on you, they brag on it. Hey, at least I didn't hit you. At least I yelled at you. I screamed at you. I did everything else, but at least I didn't put my hands on you, right? They typically only view the physical act of putting their hands on you as abuse. So trying to explain emotional abuse or narcissistic abuse to an actual narcissist or emotional abuser doesn't work out because they'll just call you, they'll say you overreacting. They'll say you too much into your feelings. They'll say you just lying and making stuff up. They'll gaslight you, they'll manipulate you. They will not take accountability for what they're putting you through. Anyways, y'all, I hope this helps. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel.
3 things an emotionally abusive partner will use against you. Now, whenever a client comes to me and they're really trying to figure out, is this relationship right? Is this relationship healthy? Do I want to be in this relationship? And if I don't, how the hell am I going to leave? Something that crops up very often are emotionally abusive behaviors, traits, patterns, etc. And the thing with emotional abuse is it's so complex and the wounds are not necessarily visible. They are internal, but just as complex as any other type of abusive relationship and just as harmful. Now, what's keeping a lot of my clients stuck is that they can't seem to balance the logic and the emotion, what's real versus what isn't real, and all of the questions that come with that. So the first step always is true psychological clarity. And what comes with this is being able to really see what you're going through and really see the light at the end of the tunnel. So number 1, an emotionally abusive person will use your past relationships, your previous life choices, just your past in general. They will look at your past like it is a book. And any word, sentence, chapter, picture they can find to weaponize and use against you, they will use it against you. This will make you question at the time why you made that choice, why you were with that person. You will be defending yourself against things that A, you probably don't need to, and B, you can't change. And worst of all, the emotionally abusive partner has probably got a very, very colourful past that they are not admitting to you. So they are throwing stones while sitting in a very, very, very glass house. Basically, anything that happened before they were in your life will be used against you. And you will spend so much time defending yourself against what often are very normal parts of life, very normal decisions, whether they're mistakes or not, that you will completely miss how unhealthy this behavior is, where you are constantly have to justify and constantly needing to justify your previous relationships, your past, your life choices to a person who, quite frankly, is not God nor Jesus. Number 2, they will always use your emotions and your feelings against you. They will say things like, you're too emotional, or you're too sensitive, you're too this, you're not enough of this. But anytime you have a level of emotion, they are storing that in the bank of information to throw back at you, to throw at your self-esteem and your self-worth. You will end up questioning, am I too emotional? Am I the problem? But more than that, you'll start to see your emotions, your very normal human emotions, as a problem, as a fault in you, when they're not. If happiness is valid, then sadness is valid. Now, this is a really controlling tactic, because what this does is it creates a conditioned belief within you that your emotions are not okay, that your emotions are not allowed, and your emotions are a problem. And so what you start to do is bury them, to not show if something upsets you that's very valid and would upset anyone, to not get frustrated, to not feel hurt, to not feel embarrassed, to basically not feel anything that they don't want you to feel. So they are now controlling your emotional well-being, which is never healthy. You are allowed to feel anything you need to feel in a healthy context whenever you need to feel it. Number 3, they will absolutely use against you your insecurities and your vulnerabilities. Maybe this is your mental health, maybe this is your body image, your secrets, anything you have confided in them that's vulnerable, that's personal. At some point or other, they will load their gun, and they will be loading it with those bullets that are your emotions, that are your insecurities, that are your vulnerabilities, that are things that you have gone through that maybe not everyone knows. And the pain that comes with this is unbearable, because you go into this trusting this person and being vulnerable and giving them information about yourself that you have guarded and that you would expect the person that loves you to guard with as much importance as you do. But they will not. They will completely disrespect your trust and vulnerability by using what they should never use against you.